Welcome to
The Neapolitan
Scoop Podcast.
My name is Steph.
My name is Shay.
And my name is Rose. Thank you for tuning into the Neapolitan Scoop Podcast, where you get your weekly scoop. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, what are you waiting for? Go subscribe right now. Today's topic is a good one: toxic relationships. Simply Psychology defines toxic relationships as a detrimental and unhealthy connection characterized by behaviors that undermine one's well-being, such as emotional manipulation, disrespect, control, and lack of support. They continue to say that the 7 signs to look out for are feeling unsupported, toxic communication, distrust, disrespect, controlling behavior, walking on eggshells, and neglected needs. With this being said, it is important to note that toxic relationships impact individuals differently. They can cause emotional distress, eroding self-esteem, and hindering personal growth. They can lead to a range of adverse effects, including increased anxiety. We don't need any more of that. Depression, and diminishing sense of self-worth.
All right, awesome. So, first question. What makes a relationship toxic? So I know, Rose, you touched on it a little bit by definition earlier, but what makes relationship toxic by your own definition?
I think somebody who is not only controlling, but maybe machista, would say in Spanish, somebody that is, men are allowed to do certain things, but women are not. And it's just kind of a gender sexual thing, where because they're men, they can, and women are not. I think that's toxic, even though our cultures may tell us differently, it is toxic.
Yeah, it's trying to make certain things acceptable for them so they can get away with it. But if we did it, we're held accountable for it, but they don't have to be.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what do you call those? Like the one-sided relationships, where it applies to you, but it doesn't apply to me. Mm-hmm. I can get, that's toxic. You also have those relationships where, you just have a man who, intentionally picks on a woman that he knows is naive and, isn't, what do you call those? I don't want to say what do you call those women, but yes women. That's what they call. Mm-hmm. That's what they're called. Yeah. And they know. No. Right, and then they mentally abuse them and lack of lower their self-esteem to where they're able to control them and have them do things that they would normally not do under different circumstances. And we see this a lot in our youth, because, you have young women or young men that are, they're just growing. They don't know no better. So you have a older person that comes in and tries to manipulate them and groom them into the way that they want them to be. And they think that, that's how things are supposed to be, when all along it's not the person that's manipulating them. And that is very toxic. What else is toxic? Taking people's phones.
Oh my God, I fucking hate that. Do not snatch my phone out of my hand.
Yeah.
Insecurities. That's what it is. It's insecurities. Like, that's toxic. Don't come into a relationship with insecurities. And if you have insecurities,
do that shit to me, and I never had nobody do that to me before, so it caught me off guard. I'm like, if you don't give my phone back, like, what do you think this is? People get mad because you're giving something else more attention than you're giving them, so they take your stuff. Like, oh, it gotta be something more important than me.
Yeah, how about those? Go ahead, Steph.
No, I was saying, I laugh about it. Like, when people take my phone, like, I tell them, I said, I didn't look. If I was trying to hide it, it'd be deleted. I said, and whatever you do, I wanted you to find it. So have at it. And honestly, I'm that girl that will probably get an ass whooped because I say the wrong thing to, like you said, a machista, a guy that feels like a woman is supposed to be in its place. And I'm like, look, I'm not the woman to stay in the woman. Because what is a woman's place? I'm not supposed to have a voice. I'm not supposed to, tell you how I feel. you're not supposed to respect me.
Right.
So yeah. So I'm pretty much not that. I'm not the yes girl. I mean, I'm not saying I don't respect, the man in my relationship, but when I feel differently about something, I'm definitely going to have my voice heard. I mean, we can agree to disagree. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to agree to something that I don't agree to just because you're the man.
Yeah.
That word, you're the man. The man.
Or the
Go ahead,
yes,
Rose.
no, I was gonna say, because even for LGBTQ relationships, it's kind of where one person takes the role of that possessive, the head of the household, and then the other one kind of just follows along. So I think it's kind of weird to come to a relationship when there's two people that are acting the same and they're open the same and aren't as toxic as at those heterosexual relationships, which I'm not saying, because a lot of LGBTQ relationships are very toxic, but because there's already this whole kind of stigma with LGBTQ relationships, they don't want to say, hey, I'm in a toxic relationship, or hey, I'm experiencing violence from my partner. So that's another topic. But I think it's kind of different to come to a relationship where it's not as toxic, and you kind of realize how there is toxicity in heterosexual relationships. But again, we become, or women become that yes woman, like you said, where they're just accepting of everything, or they say they have that excuse in the back of their heads where it's like, oh well, they love me and that's why they're doing that. Well, they love me and that's why they're tracking my every move. Well, they love me and that's why they're doing all the financials. No, that is controlling behavior.
Yeah.
I agree. Ooh, girl, the tracking, that's been happening a lot lately. Like,
Especially on the
people
news. I've
really
been
been,
seeing that a lot when they have them breakups and stuff. And this lady found a tracker in the back of her truck light or some shit like that.
Oh, her ex, didn't one of you send that article? It's crazy.
that's crazy. Y'all like, y'all tripping out here for real. Like, if it gets that deep, you just need to leave because this is not for mental
The
stability.
problem is half of them already done left. Their partners is tracking them after they done broke up.
Mm. Well,
Yeah.
let me see. Form of toxicity. How about the people that try to control who you talk to?
Ooh,
Like,
yes.
Or what you wear.
oh yes, that is really a old fashioned toxic situation that is still vivid to this day. Like, how you gonna tell me what to wear? Like, upon a time women were only supposed to wear skirts and dresses, and it's like, okay, in that era, I could see that being something that you get away with.
Right.
But we are in 2024 where women can wear whatever they want. How you gonna tell me what to wear? It's hilarious. I'm gonna tell y'all a funny story. Sometimes I put my fiance to the test. I just be testing him. Before we got engaged, my grandfather he asked me, he was like, when are y'all gonna get married? And I said, well, I was like, I'm not really ready. I said, it's not really him, it's me. I was like, I'm just not ready. I said, I'm still testing him. I'm still trying to see, because people will show you their true colors when the test of time happens. So I was like, I'm still trying to see, what his true colors are, because everyone can appear a certain way. Then you get married and this voila, and now you're stuck. To some people, they consider themselves stuck. But anyway, so I was putting him to the test. And we were going out to the club or whatever. And I don't know if y'all wear y'all know Rihanna's Savage X line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her line. So she has a sports a fitness part of it.
Fitness line.
And I really love a fitness line. It's really nice because it's very unique. So she had these workout pants that were like, they're almost like lingerie, right? And they were like see-through. They almost look like what the bottom girl. Yes. So I bought me a pair, right? So we going out.
Oh God.
And I put them on, and it was so funny because I was putting them on, and he was like, "You wearing something under that?" And I was like, "No." I said, "This is the outfit." And he just kind of looked, and he was like, Okay.
He's like,
So
I would
we
get in a fight today.
no, like that's so cool because we get to the club and everything. But let me tell you one thing: when we was in that club, we did not part ways.
That's what I'm saying. Like he knew he was gonna get in a fight if he parted ways. He was gonna fight someone at that club.
But crazy because that right there, like that's a certain that was me trying to see if he was gonna be like, no, you got to take that off. You can't go nowhere looking like that.
But I
But he
appreciate
passed it.
that. But I
Yeah.
appreciate when they do that because I think for me, I had a past relationship that when we were dating, it was very, very, very normal. I think it was very, you know, I mean, like a normal relationship. But once we actually started living together, it was like he didn't want me to work. He wanted me to get out of work. He was Mexican, of course. He was like Mexican from over there. And he's like, you need to stop working. He's like, you need to have our child and blah, blah. And I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Like at that point, I was working 2 jobs. I was doing good for myself. And I'm like, sir, you met me working. You met me at the club. You met me like, what did you expect? Like, I was like, I never said I was going to be a housewife. So needless to say, that relationship ended because it's like you said, once you get married, those kind of claws came out, and I was like, oh, okay, this is not the person that I was talking to. And it was just, I don't know, it was not toxic in a controlling way. It was just toxic in a way where, oh, I need you to be at home and be a housewife, and I was like, we never agreed to that. So yeah,
Yes.
I
I think
definitely
that's just
got
what.
something.
Oh, girl, let
No,
me hear.
I always got something. But
the tea.
so so remember how you were talking about how like toxic stuff can be like manipulating, it could be like just a bunch of different things. So I remember this one dude I was dating and he was older than me. Was this also the same guy who I was like, oh, he was paying my rent or whatever. And he was
This
buying
was
me
the
all this
sugar daddy
stuff.
we were talking about a few episodes
Yes.
ago.
So I don't want to call him a sugar daddy, but anyways, it was this guy I was talking to, and he was like all of those things. Like, you have somebody who they have money, so they think that they can control everything with their money. They got status, so they think that because of their
Mm,
status that they can treat everybody how they want to be how they want to treat them.
mm.
Um he wanted to control what I wore. So it was like a couple of times. Maybe remember the time I said we pulled up, we was
The
going to
shorts
the park for a party at the park. He told me if I would have known you was wearing them shorts, I would have made you change. Like what?
made you,
Made me change. You can't
made
make
you.
me do anything. And this is also like this is somebody who was very insecure. So I think a lot of
Mm,
that, I think it's one thing to be jealous. This is another thing to be like insecure. It's where you're letting like he say she say things get in the way of like what who a person is really.
yeah.
You have people who are like coming in, they probably hating on your girlfriend because she there and it's not them. They telling you all
Mm.
kinds of lies in your ear and you stupid enough to believe them because you're just gullible as shit and you don't have a fucking
Damn.
backbone. And so it's like,
Shay.
no, because that's dead ass what it is. Because first of all, who sits up here and has some little bird in their fucking ear, and instead of you coming to your girlfriend and say, "Hey, I heard this. Is it true?" Or "Hey, them b words ain't even got proof." You just believe what they
Mm,
say, and then you break up with your girlfriend off of some he say she say. That's
mm.
crazy. Dude was like,
That's when you.
oh, dude was like, oh yeah, they told me you pulled some black truck pulled up in your yard and you hopped up in the car with the black truck. I said, well, do they have
Okay.
pictures? He's talking about, nah, they ain't got no pictures. So they ain't got pictures. You know they hate me, but you gonna believe just what they say, even though I told you it
Mm.
wasn't true. Man, stuff like that. Yeah, you gotta let that shit go.
They're
I don't care
gullible.
what you
Yeah.
doing for me, bro. It's all that. I'm not dealing with it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Red flags, red flags.
Red flags, and no matter how much money you pay
Yes.
me, I'm not gonna deal with it. I don't even care. I'm not one of them. You ain't about to stress
Yeah.
me
And
out.
and
Yeah. I
I
think
think
jealous.
go ahead, Rose.
No, I was just gonna say I think jealousy can also become a toxic trait because there's being jealous being healthy. And then there's a jealousy where it's like you're taking it to the extremes. That's a
Yeah.
lot. Like I think there's a normal kind of just being jealous because somebody's looking at your spouse some way or somebody's kind of flirting with your spouse. And I think that's normal to be a little maybe mad jealous, not, kind of tell the person, give me my place as your spouse or your girlfriend or whatever it can be. And I think that's a different kind of jealousy. And then there's why are you looking that way? Why are you looking why are you looking at that guy? And it's like, you're not even nowhere near looking at a person. Or why are you wearing, like you said, those shorts? Like, why are you trying to be hoochie? Are you trying to get somebody else? Are you trying to get in somebody's? And it's like,
yeah. Or seeing that your car is gone and wondering, oh, we must be with a dude, or seeing that your car is there and thinking you snuck out the house to be with a dude.
Oh my God. Or the gas. The gas.
The gas.
I had one person tell me that one time. Like, oh, your gas wasn't it wasn't on that level. That's it. Nope.
Not the gas.
That's
when I left, your meter was at 105,000 miles. Now it is at 105,002.
Man, I don't know about the meter, but I've had somebody tell me about the gas before, and that was a big red flag for me. It's like, you're not going to measure how much fucking gas I'm wasting. You don't know about when around.
I never heard of the gas one. I never heard of that one.
The gas? Like, how can you be broke?
Hispanic men are very toxic. Look, because I'm not somebody that pumps my own gas. It's on very rare occasions that I do it. Now that I'm with my wife, I pump it a lot more. So we have that fight all the time where I'm like, look, I had never pumped my gas before. So this person kind of saw that the pump was a little different, knew that I'd never pumped my gas. And they were like, who were you with? What were you doing? What were the? And I'm like, there's things called errands.
I would say, look, it's Houston. It evaporated. It's hot. Shit.
Not it evaporated.
Gas be evaporating out here. No, that's crazy. I never had that one. The gas? No. On E. Y'all know I stay on E. I do not like going to the gas station. So the gas would not be a of where I'm in, because look, I would ride E for 10 miles.
No,
but I'm trying to get better, y'all. I really am, because I can't.
I've become a lot better. I've become a lot better. I used to ride on E. Now I've stopped.
We got to stop that in 2024. We got to stop that.
Yes, Steph. We're here for stopping the empty. To stop riding on empty 2024.
I mean, I ain't making no promises. I'll try.
Hey, at least half a tank.
Yeah.
Or a quarter.
Okay, a quarter.
Like, you start to get at half a tank.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, toxic.
Next question. So how would you approach someone who is in a toxic relationship? And I guess it'd have to depend on who it is, to be honest, because I'm not gonna be in everybody's business. Like, I'm not trying to save nobody. People be knowing.
Shay. I think that's what the issue is. Like, people know that somebody's in a toxic relationship and they don't say anything, and they end up being dead, and then you feel like, I should have said something.
Bro, people are responsible for their own stuff. You can sit there, and we know, because of how we may have grown up and what we have seen, people choose to be who they choose to be with. And no matter how much you intervene in relationships with people, they're going to be with them if they feel like they want to. No matter how much you intervene, I'm not going to stress myself out because I'm supposed to feel like I got to save you. No, it's not my job. So when you do end up in a situation, if you try it, cool. But you shouldn't put so much emphasis on it having the outcome that you expect, because it might not.
Okay. That I agree with. I agree with not expecting anything. I definitely feel like you have to approach, and you guys know I'm a big intimate partner violence advocate, and that's kind of my niche in this world. But there's statistics that say that before a person leaves their partner, when they're in an intimate partner violence relationship, it takes 6 to 7 times. They leave 6 to 7 times before the final time. And to me, it's always been like, why? Why does it take 6 to 7 times? But there's all these back factors like money, kids, all this other stuff. And all we can do is tell them, hey, I know you're going through a rough time. I know you're in this type of relationship. I'm here for you. I'm here if you need me. And that's really all we can do. Just offer our support. Maybe not kind of say, you need to get out of that, because, the more they tell you, the less you're going to do it. So it's more of encouraging them and saying, hey, we're here for you. We know you're in a rough, patch, or you're going through some rough times. We're here for you. I'm here when you decide to leave, even if, you decide to go back. And most of the time, I think, at least for me, it's the toughest part is seeing that person go back to their offender, because you're like, what if you don't get to leave that next time? What if, next time it's something else? Because I've heard so many stories about, people that are married and just because you're married to that person, that doesn't mean they can't abuse you. Getting raped, getting locked in a room by their spouse because they don't want them to leave. And it's like, geez, like it shouldn't. Why are you not leaving those relationships? Well, because of the kids, or because this person has all the money and I don't make any money, and where am I going to go? And then we are not even going to get into all those shelters that aren't good for shit, because they really don't help these people, let alone people in LGBTQ relationships or people in transgender relationships. It's another hurdle they have to get through, because people don't believe, oh, your spouse, another man is beating you up, you're going to let another man just beat you up. Another woman is beating you up. What do you mean you didn't snatch your hair? No, because not everybody is violent. So I think it does get hard. I feel like it is our jobs to approach those people being in those toxic relationships, being in violent relationships, and saying, hey, I'm here to support you. But again, like you said, not expecting anything from it, because then if we're kind of nagging at their ears, we just become a nag, and it's just going to be like, I'm not going to do it because now I'm going to look like, why am I going to leave? They're going to tell me I told you so. And that's going to be like, it's the worst thing for somebody not to leave a relationship just because they don't want to be told I told you so.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, and just based on my toxic relationships and my experience with them, when I see a friend that's in a toxic relationship, I do exactly what Rose said. I just offer my support, because just me going back to when I was in my toxic relationship, number one, I intentionally wouldn't tell people the things that I was going through. Number one, because I knew that I wasn't ready to leave. Number two, so even telling them was like, oh, I knew they weren't going to be in favor of the individual. So telling them would have just created a barrier between them and the individual. So I hid a lot of the things that were going on from family, from friends. Because I knew at the end of the day, no matter what they said, I wasn't leaving. I wasn't ready to leave. I wasn't leaving. Number two, because you are embarrassed. A lot of times you're still in shock. Every time something happens, you're just like, you're trying to convince yourself in your head that it's going to get better. They didn't mean it, and then it comes to a point to where you start blaming yourself, and you're like, well, because I did this, they reacted like this. And it really takes a very strong mind, especially if, like Rose said, if kids are involved, if, money is involved where you're depending on them for money. Like, it takes a very strong individual to pull themselves out of that type of situation, because you always have to remember that they have been mentally getting abused the entire time. And if they're getting physically abused, usually they start off with mental abuse. They start off, good enough, you're not this, you're not that, nobody's going to want you, nobody's going to this, you're the bad person. And then it starts with the abuse, the physical abuse. And now you're blaming yourself, because in your mind, it's your fault based on what they have been grooming you to believe during the mental abuse phase. So I typically, like, honestly, if my friends would have came to me and been like, you need to leave him alone, you need to do this, and blah, 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 or even tried to fight them, I would have probably turned against my friends. And that was like, when I think of that, when I see my friends in situations like this, if I do see them, I would say, like, I don't think this is healthy. However, whatever you think is best for you is what you need to do. I'll be here for support if you need me. If you need me to come by, if you need to come stay at my house, whatever you need to do. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to risk losing that friendship. And then now you don't know what's going on. At least when you're there and you're just offering sometimes you just have to offer a listening ear. At least you're listening to what's going on. So maybe there's a clue in there here and be like, okay, if something happens to your friend, you know where she was going, what she was doing, who she was with, little clues instead of just Xing yourself out of the situation and ending up not knowing what happened. One day you just get a phone call and, your friend is no longer here or your friend is in the hospital, in critical condition. So how would you approach someone in a toxic relationship with support? You just offer support, offer a shoulder for them to lean on when things get rough. Don't point the finger. Don't, because they're already getting the finger pointed at them.
Yeah.
Finger, just offer support and listen and pray and hope that you can get them out of that situation safely without losing them. So that would be my approach. And another reason I'm saying is because I actually had a situation where I actually stood up to the abuser in a relationship with an individual that was very close to me. And, they were getting physically abused. And I stood up to the abuser, and I said something to him. And 2 days later, she was back with him. And it was the most hurting thing to see because 2 days prior, I'm getting into it with this individual. We about to fight, we about to squabble. Because, like I said, I'm not the type to just keep my mouth shut. Yeah. So we about to squabble, and then 2 days later, I come knock on the door, and he opens the door, and it's like a slap in the face.
He got in her head,
and yeah, it's almost like a drug. You know how when people are on drugs and they're just addicted and you can't get them off of no matter what you say, no matter what you do. It's like they have to get it in their mind that they need to get away from this. They say love is a drug, and it literally is. It's a drug, and you can't fight.
Yeah, it feels like it's something that you need, and if you don't have it, it's like if you're in that position, it feels like if you have it and you lose it, it feels like you would die without it type of situation. It's like, what do I do without this person in my life? And I'm just thinking from somebody who could be in a controlling, because I've been in one before. And even though that's probably pretty big of me to say, because nobody ever wants to admit when they've had hard times in situations like that. But I've definitely been in maybe, I'm gonna say 2, and one was probably worse than the other. But they're all different. They're all never the same. One person's toxic is not another person's toxic. It's definitely different. And I definitely agree with the mind control thing. I definitely agree with people hanging money over your head and like, oh, I pay for this, so and just getting into your head with just making you feel like you need them. And if you don't have them, you feel like you're going to lose, like you feel a void in your life if you don't have it. So when she says something about love is like a drug, that's kind of like, just comparing it. It's kind of similar. You feel like you not die without it, but you feel like you have to have it. What am I going to do with this person?
When you're dealing with somebody with a drug addiction, what happens? Either they overcome it or they don't. They end up overdosing.
And then the process to get off of it is hard too. The process to get off of it is hard. So the process to leave somebody from a toxic relationship is also hard. There's stages.
You have to detox. You have to detox out of that too, in a way.
Imagine relapsing. Like you done got yourself out. Now he comes back over here and like starts talking sweet to you and saying, "Oh, I changed. I don't do that anymore." And there you go. You relapse. And now you're back. You done cleansed yourself. And, you done went to rehab. You done did all of this. Now they're back. And now you're back. Now it's harder to get out because now it's the second round. It's just horrible. That girl.
You done got your 60-day, your 90-day chip. You're doing well.
You're back at square one.
You're back at number 1.
Damn.
Oh. So and all that, just don't judge. You can't judge people because it's like a.
No, I definitely don't judge. Can't.
You can't control it.
And I think we don't know their stories. We don't know what the why behind everything, and it's. I think as much as we like to think we're very, very independent, open-minded women, it's the truth is we don't know what everybody is going through, and we still have our own kind of biases. On certain situations.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. So just love, support, and pray.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, last question. What is the best way to remove yourself from a toxic relationship?
I think
I
that's
feel
a
like
hard one.
when you fed up, it's easier.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But what does it take for for people to just say this is it?
It's
Like
situational.
what?
It depends on what your wits end is for whatever it is you're going through. What is the
Mm.
something that just push you off the edge? For me, it was somebody telling me that if I don't do certain things with them, that they'll cheat on me. Oh, I'm not gonna even allow you to sleep next to me or go to sleep at
That is
night
toxic.
with that shit on my damn mind. If you think that you're gonna tell me to my face you're gonna cheat on me, go ahead and fucking do it. Bye. You're free to go.
I think it depends on the concept too. Like why? Like what's happening that you need to tell me that?
Nah, it's stuff up to that
Because
point, and that was the point of ending.
mm,
I don't even care. It's not
Like,
even enough to talk about. It's just that's the end of it. That was my
run it
end
back
of it.
one more time. What did you say? Run it
Um,
back.
because I don't want to get into too much about the context of it was, but I mean, obviously, for somebody to be saying that they'll cheat on you is obviously something sex related. So he
that's
was
what I
just,
was gonna say.
yeah, it's obviously
'Cause
something
that's
sex
usually what
related.
happens.
Okay, well, I'm gonna put it like this. So this was some person who wanted what's it?
The
What's
nookie.
the no. What's the legal dictionary term for giving head?
Is it cunnilingus? No,
Kind of.
is
Is
it
that for women?
cunnilingus?
Is that for women?
I think it is.
Well, whatever the male version is for cunnilingus.
Cunnilingus.
he wanted
Cunnilingus meant to
he
female.
he wanted me to do stuff. He wanted me to do that on
Oral.
him.
Oral.
Oral. That's the word. He wanted me to do oral on him, but he was not somebody who will reciprocate it. So I'm like,
Mm,
make that make sense. How am I supposed to feel? And I guess and it all comes to when you said don't yuck somebody's yum. So I guess it's like there's people
yes.
out there who do things for the pleasures of others. I am not that person. If I am doing it, I need it to be done in reverse. On the flip side, oh no, Steph left.
I think she was gonna go get her charger, and it also says we got like 10
Oh.
minutes left.
But yeah,
Let's
so
see.
it was that type of situation. And so I guess we got in talking about it, and he was just like, well, if I can't get it from you, then I'm gonna get it from someone else. And
Mm,
just up until that point, it was a lot of other stuff I had been dealing with, a lot of other stuff where I was already trying to list out my pros and my cons and if it's
yeah.
even worth to keep this relationship or not. And then you tell me that, I feel like you tell me that it's gonna make me insecure. It's gonna make me not trust you, and that's gonna bring another problem. And I'd rather
Mm,
not. And just because I was already feeling like the relationship was already just doing too much for my energy anyway, that was like the
yeah.
breaking for me. I was just like, you're not gonna do that to me. You're not gonna make me feel like that either.
Right. And I think just the fact that you were already outweighing the pros and cons is not even just, that says
Yeah,
you're an adult and you were at least kind of saying, is this worth my time? But also, like, if you're outweighing your options, like pros versus cons, that already means there's something happening in the relationship to me. It's like, if I'm already thinking if you're even worth my time, that's already kind of a red flag for me because
true,
it's like you've
true.
already,
Because I shouldn't even be
like, I
thinking
shouldn't
like
be,
that. Yeah, I
right.
should be happy to be with you. It should be, yeah, we have a little argument here and there, but there's no doubt. But when there's doubt,
Right.
that's the problem. That's when all the
Yeah,
questions start arising.
I agree. Yeah, that's crazy. But
Child.
I think that's more normal in men. So some men are very, I copied the little phrase "don't yuck their yums," because I heard another podcast and they were kind of talking about a lot of sexual stuff, and then one of them was like, whenever we do it, that's like don't yuck their yums. You might be doing some crazy stuff other people don't like. So
Hmm.
but I think it's tough. But I think it's crazy because I would like for everybody to kind of have that kind of maturity that you did where it's like, is it worth my time, and kind of express it to yourselves. Is it going to be mentally and physically okay for me to remain with this person or not? But not everybody does that. And sadly, that's why some people remain with their abusers and their persons who are controlling and whoever. But my biggest thing I think is education. We need to educate our kids on what it is, what a relationship should look like. and what toxic traits are. Because I think a lot of our youths don't know what toxic traits are and grew up in maybe split families, people that
Yeah.
didn't grow up with mom and dad, or grew up with a mother that was being abused or
Or they
controlled by
think
their
just
spouse.
certain
So they
things are
think that's
cute
normal.
and this is
Yes.
love.
Yes. And it's like, no, we need to educate. I tell my daughter all the time, do what you have to do for you so that nobody else can come to your face and tell you, I did this for you. It's like, no, be your own person. Make sure you can take
Facts.
care of yourself before going into a relationship because, and I think we should always kind of be like, hey, we're here for you. And I tell my daughter all the time, even if you get married, even if you have kids, if you're going through a relationship where somebody's abusing you, come back home. This is your house all the time. It doesn't matter if you have 20 kids, we'll figure out where to fit the motherfuckers, but we'll do it. I was like, it's because sometimes I go, well, I have like 5 kids and I can't go back to
They
no.
don't want to
Your
burden
parents are always
nobody.
gonna, yeah. But I feel
And
like as a parent, I'm always gonna be there for my child.
I ain't going back home, my mama.
two things that Rose mentioned on the coming back home part, because just remember that part because I got to come back to it. But it's a very valid point that Rose made, and that was actually going to be my answer to this question. Is the best way to remove yourself from a toxic relationship is to educate yourself. I actually that was one of the ways that I was able to get out of my toxic relationship because I was actually in college at the time, and I went to school for CJ. So one of my classes was actually behavioral psychology, one of those
Mm-hmm.
psychologies, and it actually talked about abusive relationships and the pattern of it and how the abuser will apologize and buy you things and all of these things, but the cycle would continue to repeat itself. And each time it would get worse and worse and worse. And once I realized that that was the same cycle that I was going through, I something in my head clicked, and I was like, "You have to stop it. You have to stop." And that's why, like Rose said, like we have to educate our children. Like even like not just our women. I educate my son, and I tell him like
Yeah.
you don't hit women. I'm like, and if a woman is hitting you, walk away because no woman is supposed to be hitting you. And but you shouldn't think that you're supposed to slap her ass back. That might be what you want to do, but don't do it. I always tell him, call your mama. I will handle it. Don't go yourself. You a boy. You're a boy and you're a black man. Don't do it.
Mm.
Y'all see what happened to what's his name? What's the damn boy
Oh
name that was running
yeah,
like
oh dude. I don't can't think of his
Yes.
name right now, but I know you're talking about. They lost all them deals and stuff because of old girl.
Yeah. The
Right?
one
like
from
you
Marvel movies?
Yeah, I'm thinking about
Yeah.
yeah,
him. Yeah.
what's his name? Wait, him.
Yeah.
Is it
See
Jonathan?
what happened?
I think it is
Jonathan
Jonathan something.
Majors, yes. Jonathan Majors, that was his name. Yes. But you see
Crazy.
that situation, and I think that was toxicity on both ends. But I think she was just as guilty as he was. And it's like, ma'am, you shouldn't be chasing no grown ass man down no damn. I'm mad at the fact that the camera caught all them angles. I was like, why
Um,
y'all get all these this man
Be
running?
my good side.
I
Yes.
also think that a good way to remove yourself is just having, I hate to say this because it's kind of like, having that one, not really having a 1 foot in, 1 foot out mentality, but I feel like it's for women. And again, I'm not trying to make this or biased for men, but it's just on either or. And I hate to say it, but it's like always have yourself straight. I would love to be a work from home wife, but it's part of
Mm.
me who cannot fathom the idea of somebody financially being responsible for giving me
Mm.
money. And it's like worst case scenario comes up, you don't depend on somebody all your life, giving them 40 years, 3 kids, and they want to up and
Yeah.
leave you for somebody you have nothing to fall back on, or vice versa. You're trying to get out of an abusive relationship, you have nothing, no savings, no your own bank account, nothing for yourself. And that's why it's hard to get out of stuff because you have nothing. So when somebody try to dangle some money over my head, I'm glad I had my degree. I'm glad I had a full-time job. I'm glad I had my own cash, my own bank account. So when you say, "Oh,
Mm.
well, I'm not gonna pay a rent," okay, well, I don't need you to. So it's
That.
like you can't hold something against me if I already have my own. So I don't want to say go into a relationship thinking like, well, I have to have my own, but I don't want to say go into it thinking that you shouldn't have nothing. Because
But I agree with you, Shay.
I don't think nobody should just go into something solely dependent on somebody
I
financially
agree.
because you never really
Blindsided.
know. You never know. You
Yeah.
can trust somebody for everything. Husband, wife, anybody could let you down at any point in time.
Yep. And I agree with you. There's one thing I like to say, and is I have plan A, B, C, and D. Because if plan A doesn't work, plan B is going to go into play. That one doesn't work, the next one comes up. And I had a person tell me, well, you think you're just the baddest bitch? And I said, no,
Lessons.
I'm just smart. And I know how to look out for myself. And I have a child, and that is my priority.
That
And my
part.
life plan works around my child.
That part.
Well, let me get y'all with this on. What about the women who are making the money and they got a man that's sitting on the couch?
That would never be me. I
You-
can't speak for her.
Is he taking care of the kids? Is he taking care of the house? Because I'm all for changing the sexual role play thing, but baby, you gotta be doing something, taking care of the house, washing dishes, do something.
5 piece while she go to work.
Nope.
Let's talk about that toxicity. Because I mean, I'm all for the get your own, but then again, at the end of the day, it's a mind manipulation thing. Like you could have all of this, but you so sprung over I don't know if it's a dangling, I don't know what it is. You sprung over something because it ain't the money for some women. For some women, it's just
it's sexual.
They will let the men cheat on them, take their car, it's obvious. Like it's sitting there. You see in the receipt, you see in the condoms, you seeing all the signs, and you stay there. And you stay there. It's all of my you have to.
I've never been there. I can't speak for that. I've never been there.
There's, like I said last time, there's plenty of fish in the sea, and baby, I'm not gonna be sprung over one of these fishes when I can go get me a whale.
In this world, but it does suck though. But there's billion people in this world. You can find somebody.
Go get your whale, not a fish.
I'll be looking at like what? And then it'd be like, you are a pretty girl. You got it. You got something going for yourself. Like, why are you dealing with this?
But sometimes it's self-esteem. They could be the prettiest girls, but they have really bad self-esteem. I've met a few where it's like, baby, you look like a Barbie doll and you have like the worst self-esteem ever.
They don't see it. Yeah, I was talking about women who got good jobs, have a degree,
but are there for
have
the
a man at home. Yeah, they did. That dangling got them sprung.
It can't be that good. It can't be that good to be putting up with abuse.
But you know what? I'm not gonna be the one to judge because I don't want to find no dangling that's that good. Because I do not. But to unpin the other thing you said, Rose, which was like worst case scenario, you tell your children, you can always come back home if things get rough. But this also goes back to our 2 episodes ago, generational curses. And like if you don't make a child feel comfortable enough able to come home, they're not. And that's why and I don't know if it was in the generational curses episode or episode prior to that, is like as parents, it's like we feel like we have to scare our children and like beat them, do all this stuff to get them to mind. But it's like we don't realize that we're just building a separation, that when they get older, they don't want to come to you. They don't trust you enough to come to you. They don't feel comfortable enough to even talk to you about what they're going through. And, you end up, a lot of parents, you have those parents when something happens to their child and they're like, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And it's like, we don't build a relationship with our children to where we don't know what's going on, like we want to make them feel comfortable enough for them to say, I don't have to deal with this. I can go back home.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. It's like, it starts from the very beginning. It all boils down to when a child was first born to what they develop to be when they become adults, and the decisions and choices that they make.
Yeah,
is rooted in their upbringing. And that's why I say it's important. I mean, I'm not saying be best friends with your child, let them disrespect you, let them talk to you, they're your friend, but it's, create that boundary. I'm your parent, but at the same time, I want you to be able to trust me enough that when shit gets rough, you come to me and you can lean on me and say, Mom, I don't know how to do it. Dad, I don't know how to do it. Can you help me? So I wanted to end that on that topic. And I think we are short on time because this conversation can go forever and ever and ever. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure we'll bring a part 2 back up.
Yeah.
But
so again, what's the best way for them to live again? Have your own shit.
Yeah.
Depend on family if possible. You're not alone.
Have self-esteem. Love yourself. I think that's maybe number one. No, because if you love yourself,
that you can trust. Yeah.
Find somebody you can trust and understand the truth. It's more fish in this. There's more danglings out there.
Yeah. I think regardless of what the person may be telling you, because again, like we said, and both of you mentioned it, a lot of it is mental. A lot of the reason a lot of these people are staying, because it's both men and women. So we talked a lot about women, but men also go through toxic relationships. And I think for men, it's even like harder because they have to just say, oh, well, she's a woman. She's a woman. She's a woman. She's allowed to do that. No. So guys, if you're in a toxic relationship, no, a woman is not allowed to mistreat you. A woman is not allowed to manipulate you. She is not allowed to be tracking your every move. That is toxic. It is one thing to say, okay, well, we agreed, let's turn on our locations because we're going to travel or something. Or look, I want to know where you are just because you have a job that's not safe or something. If you talked about it, if you're both in agreement, if you're comfortable doing certain things, then it's okay. But if you're uncomfortable, it becomes a toxic and you're allowing them to keep doing that. So I think it's just both men and women and people in LGBTQ relationships need to understand that life does continue, even though, like we said before, even though sometimes we feel like we have to detox out of those relationships. Take your time, enjoy. I tell people after my first divorce, I enjoyed being free. I enjoyed being single. I went in the fish and I deep sea dived, girl, because I met plenty of fishes. I did what I had to do. I had fun. Yes, I deep sea dived, girl. I went. And I tell a lot of women that or friends that I talk to that tell me, this is what's happening. I'm like, I've been there, I've done it. Life continues, and when you go back and look at that, you're gonna be like, yes, it was toxic, and I'm doing so much better. And it's having a plan, like Shay said, have that financial stability for yourself. And if you don't have it, it's okay. Work 2 jobs. At one point in my life, I worked 2 jobs, 2 or 3 jobs, because I had to make it work. So just
that's
know
why
that
I hate when a man be like, shit be so hard for them. Because I'd be like, stuff is hard for us too as women.
Yeah.
And that's the conversation for another day. But just since you said that, I'm just thought about I worked 2 jobs while in college, a full-time student having 2 jobs because I had a car note and insurance and stuff. And so for somebody who don't have 2 jobs and college, I feel like if all you got is 2 jobs, then good for you, but do that shit because it's doable and anybody can do it. So when people are like, well, I can't do this, there's always a way. There's always time. It's 24 hours in a day, yeah, but it's a lot you could do in 24 hours.
But how they say, where there's a will, there's a way. So you have to be willing to do it.
That's true. I'm definitely glad you in because us as women, we're going to focus on our own experiences. And of course, our experiences are as women. And we sometimes forget men, but yeah, you're right. Like men, there's so many toxic women out there that probably come from a toxic relationship with a man. They come into another relationship and meet a good man and bring the toxicity. Ooh, and now the man
wasn't healed. She wasn't ready.
Yes. It's like you
just really kind of fill a void.
Yeah.
Yes. I had to a few times in my relationships because I was a toxic one. And I had to check my times to be like, stuff like this ain't cool. Like this you're probably getting flashbacks of the last relationship and you're bringing it into this relationship and it's not cool because they're not the same people.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say this to the men out there and to the boys: you don't have to take that. And just because she's a woman doesn't mean she gets away with this. Like they don't have the right to public or embarrass you in front of your family or talk crazy to you, you know.
Yeah.
But
And just like you said, before you get another relationship, it's probably best to go to seek help and get counseling and stuff. So
Heal,
that way
yes.
all that trauma that you have from your past does not have to affect your next relationship. And that's
I,
easier said than done because people just think, oh, I'm good. I can just bounce over. I'm good. But you don't really
mm-hmm.
see how your bad traits are coming into like play. Nobody
Yeah.
sees that part, you know. You think you're ready, but then you're really not.
I
nobody
have a
sees
friend
them.
that Yeah, I have a friend that I really love and I care for her. And, me and her have had this talk and my wife as well, because she knows both of us. And I tell him, like, don't get stuck with one person. Hey, you have kids by this person, but if you decide to divorce, if you decide to do whatever it be, enjoy being single, enjoy having that time for yourself, enjoy getting home and just no screams, no yelling, enjoy that. And that's part of your healing, part of your recovery, just enjoy yourself, get to know yourself a little better. And it's funny because I tell people all the time, it's like, for me, it was like, it was my eyes opened so much wider because I got married very young and I got divorced very young. I was divorced by 18 or 19, I want to say. So can you imagine? I was out on the streets. The streets couldn't hold me because I was out and about. And I was bartending. So it was like I would work my day
You
job. I
say the
would work
streets
the
couldn't
bartending.
hold me.
They could not hold me, girl, because I was out there after hours, nightclubs after the job. I was running the streets, getting to know people. I got to know a lot of people while I was out there single because I would try different things that I wasn't willing to do when I was in a relationship, or I couldn't maybe. I have fun. And then that's when after that I got into another relationship.
Yeah.
Ended up being a very toxic person, but that kind of, I think the being free, being able to heal from that first relationship allowed me to kind of say, hey, this is not right.
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of, like you said, Rose, like allowing yourself to be by yourself, know yourself, is because that's you. And that's when you learn to love and what you like and what you don't like and what you to deal with, what you're not willing to deal with. So that when you do hop into another relationship, you're like, hold up. Look, I could do this by myself.
Yep.
Like I've been there. I don't need you. Like you're an asset. You're not something that I need. You are something that I want. And sometimes what you want is you just can't have it. And you just might be that person if you're going to be toxic. So yeah, you're right. You have to get to know allow yourself to, experience you.
And
Because
that brings
if
me to my
not,
next point. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Thought you were through.
no, go ahead. I was done.
Oh, that brings to the next point, just about and even like when you are single and going through that stage, it's okay to date too, to learn like what you like about different people or just what you like in general for your next partner. Because I know like for a while, like it was like almost like this stage, not I don't know what word I'm trying to use, but it's like the stigma, like if you're dating, you can't date more than one person without having to be attached, but you need to be able to date multiple people. And I had to tell myself that that was okay to do.
Yeah.
And I think the older I got more comfortable with it because I'm like, it's okay to be honest. And sometimes you have to be honest with people to weed out who's really there to really be with you versus who just want to have a good time with you in that moment. Because if it's somebody who really want to be with you and you're saying, oh, well, I'm dating around right now, I'm not really talking to nobody, that person will even be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, well, we could just do whatever in the meantime. Or they'll be like, well, I really wanted more. Though, you kind of filter people out that way versus trying to mentally commit yourself to one person and just throwing everybody else in the back burner thinking that you found your one and only, when in reality, you probably just found somebody who's playing the field and they playing you too. And now you're back in the whole little wheel all over again. So dates, find what you like, weed out the bullshit people.
Yes.
And to
date.
I'm gonna put a little mommy moment in this dating thing.
Mommy.
I'm gonna also people date, but date safely.
Yes.
Like
who said sex? Nobody said sex, mother.
But how are you gonna know what you like if you don't fuck around?
Oh my God. I wasn't even thinking that. I was just simply thinking if I like your vibe and your attitude and how you treated me.
Well,
oh my God, we know what you. What I am saying here, when I say date safely, I mean tell people who you're going on a date with.
Yeah.
Share, because it's people out here that are dating with ill intentions.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by dating. Like, don't go on dates with people. Honestly, I was the type, I'll do background checks. And sometimes background checks don't even require you to pay $3.99 because if you Google a person's name, it's some shit gonna pop up if they did. So that's what I mean. Like, let a friend know. Send your location to somebody because shit is wild out here. And people are crazy. So that's what I mean by date safe. If you're having sex, practice safe sex because you don't want to bring babies out here in the world. That you ain't ready to raise or none of that. So, and you don't want to bring nothing home. Stank and have your coochie smelling or your penis leaking.
Yes. And just because you're dating does not mean you have to have sex with each person. So, yes.
Like, it's okay. I don't know. But learn people. If you want experience if you're the wild side, go ahead. No judgment zone.
I agree with dating, knowing people, but look, I feel like you gotta test the vehicle before you drive it. Like, you take it off the lot. Like, how you gonna,
I'm gonna test the car. I ain't gonna test it immediately, but I'm gonna
of course. Yeah, of course. But
if it's like if I'm dating five people taking me out to eat, you know, we having a good time, and there's this one that just happens to make it to like the stretch, then that might be the one.
But I would think so do you really call it dating though? Because it's like, is it really dating or I'm just getting to know people?
It's dating if we go out on dates and they spend money on me.
Yeah, it's dating. Dating doesn't necessarily have to
I can go have dinner with a friend and spend money on them. That doesn't mean I'm dating them though.
But you classified it. That's your friend. This is not your person, not your friend. Somebody who's a potential mate, maybe partner, maybe.
When I go to my friends, I consider those dates. Like, my fiance be like, "Oh, so you going on a date?" It's my friend.
I do call my friend dates too.
He's like, "Oh, you got a date tonight?" Yeah, I do, with 3 fine ass women.
I got a date next month too with my best friend.
We need to set one up then to go drink because
I'm sad. Don't send me nothing else. Don't send me nothing else in this damn chat because we ain't going nowhere. Y'all full of shit.
I'm ready. I'm
available.
You're available when?
You off? I'm available Friday.
I'm available Friday as well. All right, Shay.
I ain't got shit to do. Why she over here?
What's Friday? The 29th?
Yes, girl. Yes,
right before New Year's. And
it's open.
Okay. Pick one of the little spots that we done sent each other on Instagram and we meet there. Okay.
Okay, we got a date.
We got
Are you working on Friday, Shay?
No, I'm off the
so we can even do like a lunch thing. We don't have to, because that way it's not full. It's we can do it during lunchtime.
Girl, some happy hour store. It's fun a happy hour.
Like at 6. But there's some places that have brunch.
3.
Really?
No, don't have to start early.
Oh.
Most happy hours start at 3.
Okay,
but we could find one. Will we be drunk by 3 o'clock?
But you're not about to have me sleep by 4 o'clock. No, ma'am.
Uber.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Let's do it. Let's plan it.
I need to do at least like 1 o'clock, noon, a good evening, afternoon time.
No.
Okay. Well, we look at what time they happy
I'll be drunk by brunch.
Dang, girl, be home sleep.
The mimosas be hidden.
You gonna wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like, what the fuck?
The whole day went by.
This will happen when you go out on dates.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll find somewhere for Friday. Find one.
We have a lot of places that I've said, and we've all sent each other, Shay. So
yeah.
So I'm gonna continue sending you places.
They say I'm not sending y'all no because I keep pulling.
Just sending me all this good looking stuff, these nice drinks that got all the little fuzz.
You know what? We need to do a Neapolitan Scoop shared calendar.
We do. I mean, we could share the one on the email and just share it with our personal.
We should set something up at least once a month, like we were doing before. I really enjoyed those.
Girl. Well, that's fun. Yeah, my boyfriend used to be like, "Damn, you still out 3 hours later?" I'm like, "Shit, we just get
talk about it.
That's what my wife would say. I'm like, we're talking about important things. Like, we're not just here sitting. Like, we're talking important things. And then she's like, okay.
Whatever y'all say.
I'm like, how do you think this podcast happened?
Right, exactly. Creative
bouncing ideas
over drinks.
Over rosés,
rosés, and whatever else they brought to that table.
Were they shots?
I don't know.
You remember,
girl? But it was so good. They had me lit every time I left.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We need to do it at least once a month for our mental well-being. That's what we're gonna say. It's our mental well-being session.
That part.
Thing I learned about this trip is that like I was mentally drained and didn't even know it. Like I took this trip and I'm just like I came back. Even my friends when they like a couple of my friends that I met up with, they was like, "Oh my God, you look so vibrant! Like you look like."
But you do. You look so relaxed. You look so relaxed.
Yes, that's exactly. I'm like, well, get used. I'm like, it ain't gonna last long because once I hit, I'll be like, why, Lord, why? No, but
we're gonna edit that out.
Definitely. Yeah, we can edit that. Please do, because I don't
have trying to get in trouble. Smoke.
Oh,
please edit the snakes be snaking.
That part.
But hello, snakes. No. Shout out to the snakes.
Shout out to the snaky snakes. Glad you're here.
Not the snaky snakes.
With a winky face. I see you.
We see you. We see you.
Oh, serious. Okay, maybe you should edit the part where I said it and just keep this part.
Shout out to we got to.
Shout out to the snaky snakes.
Shout out to the snaky snakes. We see you.
The wink. It's the wink for me. It's okay. I say if you're listening, please like, share, and subscribe. Don't just listen in. Like you're already spending your time listening to us. Just go ahead and like and subscribe. We're not gonna say anything. We're just gonna say thank you. If anything, most of the people we see that they like, we see that they subscribe, people that are sharing us. Thank you. We appreciate that.
We really do.
It's okay to click with us. It's okay to vibe with us. It's okay.
we don't bite. We're not
just a little. Just a little. And we need consent first. Everything is done with consent.
Yep.
All right, y'all. So we want to thank you for tuning into our podcast. Again, if you enjoyed our content, please subscribe to our channel, like, and comment. We love feedback. I promise you we do. Like, feed off your feedback. While you're at it, follow us on all streaming platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, and iHeartRadio. You can also find us through Instagram and TikTok. Please go follow, like, comment, whatever you want to do. Just, help us here with the feedback because your feedback is what gears us to come up with these topics. Also, if you have a topic that you would like for us to discuss, or if you'd like to be a guest on our podcast, feel free to email us. We love to have you. Again, thank you, and see you next week for your weekly scoop serving. Hey.
Bye.
Bye.